May 2026 on PS5 is absolutely stacked. Here are 25 fresh games you need to know about right now. Number 1 kicks things off with Constance, a hand-drawn action-adventure Metroidvania that made waves on PC in 2025 and is now finally landing on PS5. Players step into the shoes of artist Constance, navigating a decaying inner world shaped by her own mind and mental health. The platforming is tight, the boss fights are punishing in the best way, and the hand-drawn art style is genuinely stunning. If you loved Hollow Knight, this one is going to hit very hard. Moving right along to number 2, Wax Heads puts you in charge of a struggling record store in what is easily one of the most charming indie releases of the month. This cozy punk narrative sim has you chatting with quirky customers, curating a handcrafted vinyl collection, and keeping the groove alive in a shop that has seen better days. The visuals are impressive for an indie title, and the writing is sharp and full of personality, a real sleeper pick for May 2026. Number 3 is Mixtape, one of the most emotionally loaded games of the entire year. Developed by Beethoven and Dinosaur and published by Annapurna Interactive, this coming-of-age narrative follows 3 friends on their very last night together before life pulls them in different directions. With music from The Cure, Joy Division, Iggy Pop, and more baked into the experience, it feels less like a game and more like playing through someone's most treasured memory. Number 4, Akuma Rise, is a story-driven JRPG following a demon who wakes up with no memory, accompanied by 3 demon princesses across a richly built world. The combat is fast, the character dynamics are genuinely entertaining, and the world building has enough depth to keep genre fans engaged for a solid stretch of hours. It launched across all major platforms and is one of the more underrated picks in the May lineup. Number 5, Hydroneer is a mining and base building sandbox that PC players have already been obsessed with for years, and it is finally here on PS5. You start with basic tools and gradually build out a fully automated extraction operation, digging deeper into the earth for rarer materials. You can craft weapons, jewelry, and food, or tend to farm on the side. As long as the console port holds up technically, this one has serious hour sync potential. Number 6 is Directive 8020, the next entry in Supermassive Games' Dark Pictures anthology, and arguably their most ambitious yet. A colony ship has crash-landed 12 light-years from Earth, and an alien creature is picking off the crew one by one while perfectly mimicking human appearance. The branching decisions and multiple endings are back, the sci-fi horror setting is fresh, and Lashana Lynch leads a strong cast. Trust no one and expect gut-punch consequences at every turn. Number 7, Call of the Elder Gods, is a first-person narrative puzzle adventure and the follow-up to the beloved Call of the Sea. It brings back that same mysterious, atmospheric approach to storytelling while expanding the mythology into new and stranger territory. Players piece together a world filled with ancient gods, cryptic environments, and layered narrative threads. If you are drawn to slow-burn adventure games built around discovery, this one deserves your full attention. Number 8, NITRO Gen Omega, brings high-energy arcade action to the PS5 with a style that leans heavily into retro aesthetics and modern execution. Fast movement, flashy combos, and a neon-soaked presentation make it stand out in a month packed with story-driven releases. It is the kind of game you pick up for 20 minutes and suddenly realize 2 hours have gone by. A solid pick for players wanting something with pure kinetic energy. Number 9, Outbound, was originally slated for April but got pushed to May, which honestly gave it better breathing room away from the big AAA competition. The camping and survival road trip adventure gives players a customizable vehicle and an open world to explore at their own pace, making it a standout cozy meets adventure experience. The vibe is relaxed, but the exploration is rewarding, and it fills a niche that not many PS5 games are currently occupying. Number 10, Summerhouse, is a compact and calming building sim where players design and decorate small scenic homes in a quiet, almost meditative experience. There are no stress mechanics, no resource management pressure, and no failure states. You simply build and enjoy the process. It sounds simple, but Summerhouse has developed a devoted fan base for exactly that reason. Perfect for unwinding after a long session with something heavier on the list. Number 11, Myst, arrives on PS5 as a full remake of the legendary puzzle adventure classic. If you have never experienced the original or want to revisit it with modern visuals and controls optimized for console, this is the version to play. The mysterious island, cryptic puzzles, and layered environmental storytelling remain as compelling as ever. It is one of those titles that holds up in a way that very few games from its era can claim. Number 12, Riven is the direct follow-up to Myst and arrives on PS5 alongside it, giving players the full experience of one of gaming's most iconic puzzle series in 1 month. Riven expands on the world and raises the complexity of its environmental puzzles significantly. The redesigned visuals look remarkable, and the sense of place the game creates is hard to match even by modern standards. A must-play if you are working through both entries back-to-back. Number 13, Coffee Talk Tokyo brings the beloved cozy visual novel series to Japan, where you run a late-night cafe serving both human customers and yokai who wander in when the city goes quiet. Every drink you mix shapes the conversation, and every conversation branches the story in unexpected directions. The pixel art style is warm and detailed, and the writing has real emotional weight. One of the most relaxing and quietly moving games in the May lineup. Number 14, Warhammer 40,000 Speed Freeks drops into May 2026 as a high-octane vehicular combat racing game set in the grim-dark universe. You play as the orcs, customizing and upgrading war machines across destructive multiplayer and single-player content. The game captures the chaotic energy of the Warhammer universe in a way that is immediately accessible even to players unfamiliar with the lore. Fast, loud, and genuinely fun. Number 15, Bubsy 4D is the surprise comeback of the cult classic platformer, reimagined as a fully three-dimensional adventure on PS5. The humor and personality that defined the original series are intact, and the platforming mechanics have been modernized for a new generation, while keeping that retro personality alive. It is not going to dethrone the big AAA titles this month, but as an oddball platformer with a lot of charm, it earns its place on the list without question. Number 16, LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is one of the month's biggest releases without any debate. Developed by Traveler's Tales, it delivers an open-world Gotham City built brick by brick, with combat inspired by the Arkham series, Riddler puzzles, and an enormous roster of villains. It pays homage to decades of Batman lore across comics, films, and games, and supports both solo and co-op play. This is the LEGO Batman game fans have been waiting for since 2018. Number 17, The Relic the First Guardian might not be on every radar yet, but it has the makings of a standout action RPG. Set in an apocalyptic landscape filled with ghostly echoes called relics, players collect and honor the final wishes of the fallen as they work to restore the world. The atmosphere is haunting, the combat is polished, and the narrative concept is genuinely original. A strong under-the-radar pick for RPG fans in May. Number 18, 07 First Light is arguably the most anticipated release of the entire month. Developed by IO Interactive, the studio behind the acclaimed Hitman trilogy, the game follows a 26-year-old James Bond before he earns his AA status. Voiced by Patrick Gibson, with Lenny James and Gemma Chan rounding out the cast, the game blends stealth, action, gadgets, and sharp dialogue into an origin story worthy of the Bond legacy. Day one purchase for most PS5 owners. Number 19, Yerba Buena is an indie adventure title with a distinctive visual identity and a story centered on culture, identity, and belonging. The game takes players through a richly illustrated world with puzzle elements and character-driven storytelling that feels personal and carefully crafted. It is a quieter release compared to the AAA giants this month, but for players who value meaningful narrative experiences, Yerba Buena is well worth seeking out. Number 20, Wandering Sword, is a Chinese martial arts RPG that spent years winning fans on PC before finally landing on PS5. You play a swordsman who narrowly survives a near-death encounter and sets out on the path of martial arts to become a great hero. With HD 2D visuals inspired by the Square Enix aesthetic and turn-based combat that rewards tactical thinking, it is a deep and rewarding RPG that feels unlike anything else in the current PS5 library. Number 21, Taxi Chaos 2, brings back the chaotic arcade-driving energy of the classic series, with faster gameplay, bigger cities, and more personality packed into every delivery run. You race against the clock, picking up and dropping off passengers across a sprawling urban environment, racking up tips and unlocking new vehicles. It is not trying to reinvent the wheel, just give you a ridiculously fun time, and it absolutely delivers on that promise. Number 22, Blueys' quest for the gold pen brings the beloved animated series to the PS5 in a family-friendly adventure platformer. Young Bluey sets off on a quest through familiar and new environments from the show, with simple mechanics designed for younger players and enough charm to entertain parents playing alongside them. The animation style translates beautifully into the game, and it captures the warmth and humor the show is known for. Number 23, Mina the Hollower, is a stylish action-adventure from WayForward that draws heavy inspiration from classic 8-bit and 16-bit era games, while delivering tight modern combat and dungeon exploration. You play as Mina, a burrowing engineer navigating a monster-infested island with a whip, gadgets, and subterranean traversal mechanics that open up new paths across the map. Retro fans and newcomers alike will find a lot to love here. Number 24 lands us with a fresh and uniquely named entry that fits perfectly into the broader May 2026 lineup. Rugrats Retro Rewind takes the iconic 90s babies on a full-blown platform adventure that remixes classic episodes into interactive environments. The cel-shaded art direction is spot on, the humor lands for both nostalgia-driven adults and younger players, and the level design keeps things varied and genuinely fun throughout. Closing out the list at number 25, NITRO Gen Omega wraps things up by demonstrating that May 2026 on PS5 had something for absolutely every type of player. From massive open-world adventures to cozy narrative sims, mind-bending puzzles, and high-speed chaos, this has been one of the strongest months the PS5 has seen in years. Whether you are working through the premium picks or digging into the indie gems, there is no shortage of quality games waiting on your console right now.